This is the Midlines Off podcast. I know.
Green light is gone, by the way, for me. Can you still see me?
Yeah. It's
cool.
it's still under. Yeah.
But why was it off? It was red.
No, because I'm selecting the cameras right now, so it's like
manually.
Well, I think there's a way that you can do it like not manually, but I'm trying to figure that out right now. Yeah. Sorry, this is our first podcast.
Don't be sorry. I'm not sorry.
This is our first podcast, and we're trying to figure out how to do it correctly. But yeah, but welcome to the Midlines Off podcast. Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to kind of get together and talk about what? What do you want to talk about?
Just life.
Life's tough right now. Yeah, you know, it's like nothing's really easy anymore, and it's like everything used to be easy.
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
It's been a rough week. I think everybody says it's been a rough week.
Yeah.
But anyways, but I think some of the challenges that we have, I think, as a team, right? Is that obviously, Summer and I both work in the field.
We didn't even introduce each other.
That's probably we should probably do that. Okay. So my name is Junie.
Right away.
Yeah, right.
Junie, what do you do? Like, who are you?
I work at Strawman Group. I'm a digital solution specialist. Been with Strawman for close to 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I trained Summer, so Summer's one of my trainees and a bright star coming out of SoCal. Yeah.
You done?
Yeah.
Thank you. That was like a nice transition to me.
Yeah.
My name is Summer Chung. I am also a digital solutions specialist, a digital rep for Strawman. Junie was and still is my FST forever, which is field sales trainer, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think it's like some of the things that we wanted to go over. I mean, I think it's important about the podcast is, we never really get to talk about like full arch is a big topic for me, only because it's one of the topics that I feel like it's just, there's so many different ways to do it, and everybody that I talk to all have their own ways of like providing that solution, and it's kind of confusing, right? I mean, I think for like the newer people, like what's the right way? Like how are you dealing with it? Because obviously, photogrammetry, all these different like OptiSlint, like when do you apply what? And it's very confusing, and I think that this podcast kind of came about because when you look online, there's not like a place where you can go to actually learn, and it's just because there's so many different ways, and there's so much, I don't know, like I want to say fake stuff, but just nonsense online, right, regarding dentistry. And so like it would be kind of cool if we provided some, or if we provided truthful information, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word to do it, or right word to say, but.
So I have a question then. So are you saying that based off of your experience of you actually looking up online and seeing what's out there? Like, did you actually go to Google or go to a website and actually try to see how it's available? No,
not really. I think for me, like online, because I follow a lot of people, and I follow like certain people's work and certain technicians, and like I go online and I'm like, man, like 80% of it's like a lie. You know what I mean? Like they show cases and it's like, I don't know, like that seems a little iffy. Like I don't think that's how. You know what I mean? Like what they're presenting online, how they're saying that they did it just doesn't feel like it's a truthful way of like doing it, in my opinion. And so, and we always talk about it. Like I always talk about it with some of my guys that I work with, and it's like, how do you feel about that? Is that like, do you feel like that's legit? You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean?
So like, what are you questioning? Like the process or whatever they're not showing you?
Yeah, it's just like they show you the result, right? And like even sometimes the results are like, I don't know if that's right. You know what I mean? And so like there's certain things that I think that's where Midlines Off comes from, right? So, but at the same time, I mean, I just feel like I talk to a lot of clinicians, I talk to a lot of buddies, and you're like, I don't know, where do we go? Because like everywhere they try to go online, it's like they get led down like a weird path, like and it's always like some kind of angle, right? There's always some weird angle to, oh hey, gotta take this class, or you gotta sign up for this, and it's.
But they do have to sign up for a class to actually learn it, no?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then there are legit like programs that is conducted and lectured by top periodontists or oral surgeons, whoever it is, who actually went through and made all those mistakes in order to get to the point where they are at right now, and they're now passionate about educating other people who were, they're lost, just like us, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really. Oh, yeah. I guess. Sorry.
So I guess you have to. No, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sign up for any course. Because there are symposiums and those 1 hour lectures where you do listen and they tell you everything. And it's really not everything. It's only the great things about it.
Yeah.
And results are part of it. But they don't tell you, but you have to keep in mind this could happen. These are the things that you need to be aware of, like realistical things, So I guess the only way to learn that is to actually choose one option of how to do a full arch case and try it out. And if it doesn't work, try a different route. And then another important thing is you need to choose the right lab. I think partnering with the lab is really important.
No, I mean, just we had dinner with Rafi last night for Natural Like, and I was just blown away. I'm like, dude, it makes a lot of sense how he does or how he processes, certain cases. And I think the biggest, one of the bigger questions is when do you transition from acrylic hybrids to Zerk? And
See, you lost me there when you guys were we were bouncing off the walls, and I was just
well, because I have some, I have lab partners that are they feel like they're missing the boat, or they're damn, it's they just don't believe in going into full Zerks for finals, and not for every case, not for maybe an upper or whatnot.
So what's the reason? Why
it's just, I don't know what it is. I think it's weight. I think it's they feel like it's not necessarily proven, I guess. But I mean, there's some doubt with the materials, and obviously the weight of it, the feel of it, and things like that.
So what do they do now?
Just the old school way, acrylic hybrid. Yeah, just doing the acrylic over the bars, but then I guess there's the downside of that too, right? It's teeth breaking, and how do you dealing with all that stuff. And I think that's the evolution of Zerks came from basically breakages from acrylic, right? Teeth breaking off, and so I don't know. There's also a lot of different ways that we can look at it, but I think what was interesting about last night was, man, he found a solution that his laboratory functioned a certain way, and this is how he was able to facilitate it, right? He's he doesn't have dentures, he couldn't find dentures to basically help him set up teeth and things like that, and so he's well, this is my skill set, is CAD. I applied CAD to an analog process, by basically, building a certain puck or something like that, or some material. We can't really describe it yet, but
right.
We'll talk about it when he comes on the podcast, but we'll let him explain what he does. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it's best of both worlds in a way, right? But then I think the biggest thing that I took from it is he chose a path that was not, it's just, there was really no question about there was no hey, this is the new thing. And we don't have enough studies on it, but it's the new thing, it's convenient. So for him, it's there's a fine line between doing things out of convenience, but doing things that are making the laboratory efficient, right? And I think he chose quality and efficiency, not just purely on convenience and price, right? So which you have to respect, because a lot of times decisions are always made off of what price and convenience and things like that, right? And so I think at what cost to the patient, right? And so I think that's where it's kind of hard to understand, okay, what is right? Because at the end of the day, it is their business. So we can't really have a say in what their business or how they should operate their business. I don't feel I'm never in that place, right? Because it's not my business. But stuff like that. I think it's interesting to hear that side of it. I got all nervous all of a sudden.
Don't be nervous. I sense that.
Right? It just dropped. My voice just dropped right now. I was this is interesting.
This is too professional, truly.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you just last night was kind of it was pretty high level. He got into it pretty deep, and I kind of want to see some examples. Obviously,
Sure.
It's kind of cool to see what do you mean? What do you mean? How is that designed and things like that? It'll be
To
interesting.
see the process, right?
Yeah.
On his end.
It'll be interesting to see if he'll share that though. Is he going to share that? It'd be kind of cool. I mean, I have several guests that are kind of verbally committed to coming on, so we'll be able to show. So maybe the next episodes will transition into maybe like bring in some slides and things like that so people know what we're talking about. That'd be kind of cool.
How are we gonna do that?
I think there's things that you can buy online, like software.
Buy more stuff?
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be it's been fun so far. I mean, it's our first podcast, so I mean, it's kind of it's an interesting topic, though, right?
Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah. Are we cutting to a break?
No. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back from our sponsors. A word from our sponsors.
Who's our sponsor?
Jollibee.
Oh God. No. What is that? Okobi?
Oh no, Tangsongtang.
Oh, that's Hungary.
Oh man, so we've been eating Korean food the last 2 days. Gained about 10 pounds. K-Town is my place to eat.
Yeah.
We haven't had pingsu yet. We have to have pingsu.
Oh yeah, we should go get pizza today. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think for the first episode, I mean, this is kind of where we wanted to kind of kick things off. We wanted to kind of help everyone understand why this podcast was created. And I think that last night's conversation really proved to us that it's a conversation worth having and worth, spending the time on helping everybody understand, what the topic is and like what the struggles are. And you're right. I mean, I think everybody that wants to learn to do it, I mean, I think they'll find a way to do it. But, I feel like at the same time, what's really intriguing about this whole full arch phenomenon is that there's so many different ways to do it. And it's not like, oh, hey, this is wrong or this is right or this is the absolute best way. What's interesting is like what fits your DNA as a clinician, what works with your laboratory, and ultimately it's like there's so much collaboration that's required to like make things work really well, right? And everybody has their own way of doing it, which is, I feel like that's going to be the goal of the podcast is like I want to share all that information. And
because ultimately it comes down to the patient.
Yeah.
It really does. And like sometimes you forget about that, Sometimes I have to like remind people it's all about the result. And to get to there, right, is difficult. I was gonna say one more thing.
Shouldn't be that late, it's like,
It helps me become more Asian.
Yeah. We might have to cut that one out.
The camera wasn't even on me.
It was.
Good. Oh, really?
Yeah, here.
Wait, but it's not red. I'm confused.
There you go. Is that it?
Yeah. So when it's not red, what does that mean?
It's bouncing around each one of these, so each one of those have like their own thing, which is kind of cool. I mean, I think, we'll see how this first one goes, but I think, we'll have...
I remember.
Well,
there's a lot of options, right? But I think, I can't speak for surgeons, but I think it also, you need to like have something that works, but consistency is what really matters. But then the reality is, it could be consistent, but there's so many variables that can go wrong, and just sometimes you have to improvise, right? So I guess like you just have to expect that when you do choose one route, something's gonna happen, right?
I also feel like, there's all these great things that come out, like there's like photogrammetry scanners, there's like, OptiSplint, there's RevX that's coming out, right, for Straumann, and sometimes I feel like the biggest benefit is it gives you an opportunity to bail out in a very efficient way. Like if you're, you know what I mean? Like, so like even Charles Vaughn, right? Like a lot of his lectures about, like his workflow, he says like one of the biggest, or, one of the benefits that he got from it is like, dude, if I ever run into an emergency, this workflow makes it very easy
to get it back
to recover, right? To recover the case or to get out of a bad situation. And so I feel like, even Rafa last night, he was talking about photogrammetry and how he uses it. I'm like, that's not how a lot of people use it. And like he uses it like completely different. Like and it's just like, you're right. I think it helps him like minimize the variables, but then it helps him capture something that he can trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so the records, like he's capturing a record that he can trust. And I think, you know, when you start hearing it, I think a lot of people make decisions based off of that. It's actually really cool because it's like they've been there, they've experienced like bad situations, and like in their mind, because they're scarred, because I've broken a denture doing a conversion too, I've done it, and it's always with you. You always remember that moment, and I think like some of the stuff that you hear is going to be interesting because a lot of it, like one of the biggest reasons why they love it so much or why they choose to go down that path is because they can recover from it, right? Which is interesting. So, yeah, it was only 3 minutes. I was like, damn, dude, it was like.
No, it was 15 minutes.
No, earlier, dude, I was like, oh, it's 3 o'clock, so it's only been 15 minutes, and like I thought that conversation was gonna be like making it to like 25, but I guess it's not. But
It started at like 2:46.
2:46. But is it like that the real word like Korean people answer your phone?
Yeah, we definitely need a guest. We definitely need a guest.
So
we can't just be us two.
The guest is like the one that helps us like take. I think it's gonna help us like. So one of the reasons like the guest like my whole thing is like, man, like that's gonna really help provide and validate the information we're we're talking about. You know, like I don't.
We need another perspective of this topic.
No, we're just the moderators. Like we're just like helping them deliver, right? Just because we're really cool. But yeah, so yeah, I think the next one. I think I was trying to get our one of my guys to commit to I think November 17th, but we'll try to do it on a bi-weekly basis. I think.
Okay.
We're not always going to be able to do it in person, but we'll have like a squad cast or whatever to kind of help facilitate that. So, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Cool.
All right.
Peace out.